Good evening and welcome to another Facebook Live. Facebook Live number 3. Right, bear with me, I'm just sorting my computer out. Perfect. Okay, I'll give people a chance just to come on and then we'll flip the camera and get started. Hopefully you can hear me okay. If somebody could excuse me, give me a few thumbs up, that would be lovely, just so that I'm not talking to myself. Hi Lynn, hope everyone's had a lovely day. Okay, so Philippa's with us now, I'm sure. Yeah, lovely, thank you Lynn for that, that's brilliant. Okay, I just give people a chance to come on. I just wanted to remind everybody that I've got some giveaways. So there's 5 giveaways up for grabs. They will be Tracy's basket with her Easter egg and Kit Kat rabbits in them. Her 2 rabbits with the eggs inside. Joe's bag, rabbit bag with the sweeties. And also Tracy's handbag with the sweets inside with the lovely cherry blossom on. So anybody who wants to be in with a chance of winning, you just have to comment on this video or the 9 o'clock launch video or the 11 o'clock part 2 inspiration video. And you'll all be included. So you don't have to say you want to be part of it. As long as you've commented about the cards or the products or whatever, then that will be fine. You will be in with a chance to win. And I will announce the winners tomorrow. Is it Thursday tomorrow? Yes, tomorrow. So that's, everyone should know tomorrow. I'll give it till tomorrow evening, give people a chance to, catch up. Oh, Bev, you must be up early. You had a late night and you're up early. You are good. So thank you to everybody for joining us this evening. Let me just flip the camera and I will share with you what card I'm actually going to make tonight. So bear with me. There we go. Okay, let's just get this positioned nicely. Okay, so I am going to share how I made this card. I'm going to use my oval stencil and a bit of embossing, and I'm going to heat emboss my sentiments as well. So it just shows how lovely they look embossed. I'm actually going to use my favourite platinum. So I've got some super fine platinum, so I'm going to do it with that this time. So I just wanted to run through, just to remind you, for anyone who didn't catch the lives this morning, they're both up on YouTube. So if you don't want to find them on Facebook, they're very easy to find on YouTube. So if you just go to YouTube /Julie Hickey Designs, and you will find the my channel, and then you just literally click on videos, and they should be the last 2 that were up there. So yes, excellent. Oh, thank you. And thank you to everybody who's placed their order as well. I'm just thrilled that you loved them as much as I do and the design team do, because from all that beautiful inspiration, you know, you just saw how versatile everything is. Don't forget the Pinterest boards as well. They're all live, and every single, excuse me, sorry, all the cards that the design team have made, they're all on the Pinterest board. Sorry, I've just read that someone's got a gin and tonic. Oh, Joe, that sounds lovely. Oh, and Pam, yes, just go to Dragon's Papercraft and buy. Excellent, thank you. Okay, so while we're on the subject of who's actually got the stamps, so Hazel and Paul at Dragon's Papercraft, they've got them. Wow Embossing Powder have them. Joe and Mark at Let's Create. Julie and Barry at Craft Bliss. Kate at the Mulberry Bush. Maxine at Maximum Crafts. Jamie and Daphne at Craftmania Crafts. Ben at Intercraft. Jane and Penny at The Art of Craft. Simon Says Stamps in America have them, and also lovely Jeanette in Australia has them. Yeah, it's a bit too early for that. It is, Bev, at 6:30 in the morning. That would even be too early for me and my love of gin and tonics. Okay, right. I'm going to say the same thing as I always say. I don't tend to look at the comments because I do find I can't talk and try and read. I just can't do that. But I know Philippa is watching and I know Tracy's watching. So if there's any questions, I'm sure that they will answer them. And then afterwards, I will have a look and just read everybody's comments because it's so lovely. Oh, lovely. We've got Hazel as well. Hi, lovely. So yeah, so we've got nearly all the design team watching. So that's fabulous. So this is what I'm going to make. So I'm going to start off, first of all, let's move my bits out of the way. And I have my scoreboard out because I have a piece of card that I need. So I've got an A5 piece of card. So I'm just going to score this at 10.5 and make myself a C6 or 4x6 card. So just making a little card this time. And I'm going to work directly onto the front of the card. So when I'm scoring, I should be a little bit careful about touching the front of the card because I'm going to do some embossing. So I am going to wipe with my anti-static bag before I start. And I'm just going to bring in my oval stencil. Now when you get the stencil, you get the mask as well for the centres. So I have taped mine back in place because I like to either ink this pattern or like I'm going to do tonight, I'm going to use my blending brushes and I'm going to use embossing ink so that I can heat emboss it. And so if I have that centerpiece covered, it just means that I'm only going to get this area, which is the bit that I want, to be heat embossed. Now I've got lots of pink tape up on my shelves that I've used once or twice. So I'm hoping that this is going to work enough to hold it in place. So first of all, I'm going to position my stencil, and you can measure this if you want to, but I tend to do it by eye and just hope it's about right. So then I'm going to put some tape down on one side and I will put this other tape on the other side and bring it round to the front, and it can just hold my stencil in place. So then I'm going to take my Wow embossing ink pad and a blending brush that I keep just for embossing ink, and I'm just going to pick some ink up onto the blending brush. I would obviously hold my stencil in place, not rely on the tape, and I'm just going to go round little circular motion and just make sure I get into all the nooks and crannies, because it's a really nice fine detailed stencil, this one, for the oval, and it looks lovely if you just ink it, but it also looks so lovely when you add embossing ink and a bit of embossing powder. So bring my piece of card in, move this out of the way, and I'm just going to take the tape off of my card and carefully lift my stencil up. Perfect. I can actually see, I don't know if you'll be able to, but I can actually see the ink on the card, so that's perfect. I know it's all worked, gone through the stencil beautifully. So now I can just pop some of my favourite superfine platinum on the top, give it a little tap. Oh, got a bit missing up there. Oh, I hope I didn't miss a bit there. Let's see. Oh, I did a little bit, but I'm going to show you a way of getting around that. So, and I can also see that I have little gaps in my tape where the embossing powder has got through. I'll just give that a tap again. That looks lovely. So bear with me while I just pop my excess back into my pot. Give that a tap. And then pop my lid on because I don't want to get spill any and get rid of any excess. Then I'm going to bring my heat gun in, and I'm going to have to heat from above because my camera's too close. So I'm just going to let my heat tool heat up a little bit, and then I'll come in. If you come in from underneath, you'll get a much smoother embossing. I'm just going to come in from the top because, like I say, I can't get far enough away from the camera. And then as this starts to change, as it melts, it will change and go raised and shiny. And it is such a pretty colour, the platinum. It's a real mix of gold and silver. It is my absolute favourite. I'll just turn that round so I don't burn my fingers. And I'm hoping that you're catching this, like that the camera is actually picking it up, changing, because it is still magical. Now, as you will see, I have a little area here where the embossing hasn't worked. So what I need to do is grab my embossing pen. So you can get an embossing pen, and it's got exactly the same ink in as the ink pad, but it's obviously a pen. So then I can just draw in that little bit and get my piece of card again and bring my embossing powder back, and that should put that little bit back in. Perfect. And let's just pop the few grains that there are back in there. And then I need to get rid of any excess powder. And then bring my heat tool back in. Just let it heat up a little bit, and then we can heat that last little bit, so that little bit of the pattern won't be missing. There we go. So if you do make a mistake and you've got an embossing pen, it means that you can put that back in so that you've got a perfect finished oval. And I really do like this oval with this fuchsia card, fuchsia stamp. Now, if I was doing this, sorry, let me start again. If I was making this now, I would pop this underneath my die cutting machine with the machine on the top of it, because it would just help to flatten the card back again where you've heated it from one side. But I'm going to carry on, we're fine. So next I'm going to put my oval down, and I need to find a pink. Got a pink blending tool, and we'll have picked raspberry. And I'm just going to line this up, my oval now, so that I've got a nice border all the way around the edge. That looks about right. And I'm going to put a bit of tape down the side, and I'm going to bring the other piece of tape to cover the bottom of the card up. I mean, I'm not going to go anywhere near there, so I shouldn't go over the edge, but just to make sure. So I'm going to load up some picked raspberry, making sure I'm happy with where my stencil is on my card, and I'm just going to come over the edge of the oval, just add in that little bit of colour, just nice and soft around the edge. Obviously don't want my stencil to move, but just adding that little bit of soft colour. You can bring that colour in more, as far in as you want it to be, but I'm really happy with that. So pop that down there. Let's just lift my stencil, and now we've got that beautiful pink centre to that beautiful embossed stenciling. I mean, you could go round with the embossing ink and just do it like that and get a very sort of random embossed centre, which would look lovely as well. So just very quickly wipe my ink off my stencil. But yeah, I love the oval, and I think it works really, really well with this design, definitely. With the fuchsia, it looks beautiful. So next up, I'm going to take a piece of the same card, and I'm going to pop this down onto my sticky mat that's not very... I need to wash it and make it sticky again. So I'm going to take from the fuchsia set, I'm going to take the big, lovely focal point fuchsia design, and I'm going to place that down on my piece of card. I'm going to cut round it, so I really want it to be in as little space as possible. So I'm going to pop that down and pick that up. Now I'm not going to emboss this because I want the embossing to really stand out on my frame. So I'm just going to stamp this, but I'm using VersaFine Clair, and this is the grey, this is Morning Mist. And I've really liked using the grey ink pads with these stamps as opposed to the black. I just think it gives it a bit of a softer finish. So just stamping that out, lifting that up, making sure I've got a lovely impression. I mean, oh, just beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Just pop my sheet back in so that my dirty stamp doesn't mark it. And now I'm just going to colour my design in. I'll just bring my card in so that it hides a little bit of the light, I'm hoping, and maybe move that up a little bit. So I'm going to use my Inktense pencils. So these, I love these, and I've done a little swatch. There's a couple of, there's my original set, and then I added some colours to them. So these are all the colours that I've got, but it's good to swatch them out because then you can pick which colour you want to do. And I should really number them as well. I mean, I'm pretty good at, like, I think that's that green. And you can always have a piece of card and test it out and see if it is the green that you're thinking it is, and if it isn't, find another green. So bear with me. Yeah, I think I'll have that green. And what's this one? Because I'd like a bit, oh yes, that one and that one, because it's a bit darker. And then I want a pinky colour. That's a bit too deep. Let me find my correct colours. Bear with me. I probably should have done this before. That's definitely a red. I want a pink. I must have really mixed my box of pencils up because I had them all out and ready to go. I think that might be, that's perfect. There, excellent. So I've got my 4 colours that I need. So I've got a couple of greens. I'm going to start off adding a little bit of colour down my stem, and then a little bit of colour to my leaves. And just filling this in, and then I can come in with a deeper colour and just add that bit of detail along the bottom of my leaves. And then when I come in with my water brush, I can drag that colour out again as well. So I'm literally going to colour the whole of my leaf with the paler green, first of all. And then I will come back in with the deeper green and put some deeper colour around where the veins in the leaves are. And then when I come round with my water brush, I can drag that colour out. And it will just mix together, and it just makes a really nice leafy green. So I hope everyone's had a lovely day. I certainly have. I'm looking forward to seeing what you all create now with the bunnies and the fuchsia and the beautiful cherry blossom. And then also Philippa's favourite sentiments. Yeah, really looking forward to seeing what you make. And I'm sure that the design team have inspired you with all their beautiful makes today. They're just amazing. And it isn't until sometimes until I really stop and look at the cards when I'm showing you and explaining what I can see on the card, that I realise, like, I spot different things that I didn't maybe spot initially. So it's always so lovely to have, you know, a really nice look at them. Okay, so I'm just working my way around, adding the colour down the side of the stems as well. Now I can drag that out with the water brush as well if I want to. It really depends how I want it to look. I know that lots of you were saying that this was like one of your favourite stamps, the Fuchsia. And I know it would have definitely been my mum's favourite. She would have loved this stamp. She did love her Fuchsia. She grew them as well, like more so when she was still, when we were in the house before she moved to her flat. But yeah, she used to belong to the Fuchsia Club. So she used to take cuttings and grow them every year and everything. Yeah, she really did like her fuchsias. And we had so many different ones as well. There's so many different colours and, oh, everything. So I'm just going to carry on and add these. And I was saying this morning that I had to go, that lovely card that Jo did that just looked like it had been painted. And it was like, really? Is that really what I drew? Because it just looked absolutely amazing. And it's like, I don't think that my designs particularly look real. I like them, don't get me wrong, but I'm not into doing particularly realistic flowers. But what Jo did with the fuchsia was just incredible. And I will show you my attempt. It wasn't nearly as good as Jo's. But then I suppose I should practice perhaps. But I stamped it with antique linen like she did. I went over with some ink pads. But then I've also gone over with some of the pencils as well, trying to make it look better. But I think I should have stopped. Anyway, I gave it a go. So, and I think I should have another go really and see what I can come up with. So next up, I'm going to do my petals. So I'm just going to put the pink down first of all. So just a layer of the pink, and then I can come back in and deepen that when I've got that initial colour down, so I can add a bit more with a bit more pressure around where the lines are as well. So just giving that base coat first of all, a bit like I would do with my distressed oxides really. I was always put some colour down first and then come back in and add a bit more detail with a second or third layer of colour. And it's a bit the same with the pencils. So coming in with my purpley cut. Oh, I've missed a flower. And I was saying as well today, like Tracy had made a beautiful card with the fuchsia where she'd chopped into it, and I never think to do that. Like she'd stamped a few and then like really made a really beautiful fuchsia with lots and lots of flowers and leaves, but she'd cut into it and it was just brilliant. And it's like, I must remember to do that. I'm very much, I see things as what they are. I'm not very good at being inventive like that. Like Philippa with all those sentiments, to me it's a sentiment, and yeah, I'm not as, I don't know what the word is, but I just see it for what it is. I'm not very good at being, I don't know, what's the word? Imaginative. Maybe that's the right word. Okay, so I'm going to come in with my water brush, and first of all I'm going to go over the pale part of the green and then drag that colour down. Oh, this is really running. It's because I filled it up with water earlier. So bringing that pale colour down to meet the darker colour, and then the colours will all like blend together. But I will end up still with some of that pale, the pale green showing in my leaves. And then as this dries, because there's a nice lot of water on here, it will mix and blend together even more. So we'll just come round. I'm taking the colour, I'm doing it on my hand, I know I shouldn't, but I'm taking the colour off the paintbrush each time so that I do end up with some of that pale showing, because obviously otherwise it's just got the dark colour still on my paintbrush when I move on to the next flower. So by just wiping it between each one, it's just taking it back to water, and then I get that paler colour showing through. Oh, I've lent on it. Good job, I'm going to cut it out, isn't it? Right, so if you do something like this, I'm going to really clean my brush off, and then I'm going to come in with some water and a bit of kitchen roll, and hopefully I can start to blot some of that where I don't want that green to be. I can blot some of that off, but you do need to make sure you wipe your brush in between each time you blot. Right, I'll be a bit more careful this time. Okay, so I'm coming in to do my pink. It's not too bad because I am going to cut them out, but I will try not to lean on me. It's because there was a lot of water from my brush. So again, just coming in over the pink, adding that detail in over the top of the purple. I do like to do the little stamens that hang down. Do like to add a little bit of colour behind them as well. Okay, so that looks fine. So I am going to give that a chance to dry, and I think I'm going to stamp my sentiments so that I can cut those out and be ready for my card while that is just drying a little bit. So I'm going to use the bottom part of my card. Let's pop that back in, firm that down, take my fuchsia out and pop that back in my little pack. And I'm going to take out my happy birthday and also my enjoy your day. Oh, now that's in a different set. That was in the fuchsia set. I did try and make them different sentiments in the sentiment pack to the ones that I put in the other stamp sets as well, so that you got more choice and more variety. Okay, sorry, I've gone down to the bottom here and I realised you couldn't see. So I just wiped my card with my anti-static bag. I've put my sentiments in and I can pick those up. I'm going to pop a couple of magnets down because my sticky mat is losing some of its stick. I will just wipe with my anti-static bag again and bring in my embossing ink pad. And you need to make sure you get a nice lot of ink. In fact, I've got a new one. I'm going to use my new ink pad, just so I get a nice lot of ink. Because it's a solid stamp, you need to make sure you've got a nice lot of ink on there so that you get a really nice embossing. So just pressing down gently. Yep, that looks okay to me, I think. Let's lift that up, pop my sheet back in and get that out of the way a minute. And then bring my piece of card in and I can sprinkle my super fine platinum over the top. And it is good to have super fine for these sentiments, just because you are asking a lot with your embossing powder. But because I've used that other ink pad, look how beautifully that has taken the powder. That will come out lovely. So just pop the rest of my platinum back in the pot. Put my lid on. Just use my brush in case there's any down. I don't think there is, but just in case. And then I'm going to bring my heat tool back in. I hope you're all still there. You're all being very quiet. I'm sure you're just watching. And there's probably not a lot to say, really. Okay, so I'm just going to let this heat up, and then we can have a little look at this changing, hopefully, as the powder melts. There we go. So as it starts to change, if you move the heat tool away, try and keep your heat tool, don't waggle it about, try and keep it nice and smooth as you go over your heat embossing. But how beautiful does that look? They've just come out so well. So lovely. I'm going to put these back down where the light is, I'm hoping. But isn't that gorgeous? Now, you can cut these out with scissors. You can cut these out with a guillotine. Entirely up to you. Be good if I had my scissors. Where are my scissors? Oh, they're there. Hidden underneath my stencil. Okay, so I'm going to chop these off first of all. And just give those a chance to cool down while I cut out my fuchsia. So I am going to cut and leave a little border because I find that much easier. And I do tend to move the paper rather than the scissors, or I do try to. And I'm going to come in. You can be as close as you want, or you can leave a bit more of a gap. Get rid of any pieces that you can, because I find it's much easier if you've got rid of that excess card. By leaving the little border, you're making it that much bigger. So you are making it easier to cut out. And I am following the lines all the way round. Another way that you could do this actually, which is what Emma had done a lot on her cards, is where she'd actually stamped onto green card. And that's a really nice way of doing it. And then when you cut that out, they did absolutely look beautiful. But also when you're cutting this out when you've got the white edge, because a lot of your elements are going onto white, it won't show if you haven't done a fantastic job, because it's going to be white on white. So yeah, and just leave yourself, if you're not happy cutting out, just leave yourself an even bigger border so that you're not having to cut in so much to the design. I mean, I know like Jo Shannon absolutely, and Tracy, they might actually, Tracy might not like it, but she does it a lot. She fussy cuts an awful lot. And Jo Shannon really fussy cuts. I mean, I can't cut out like Jo can. I have to leave the border, but that's just, but I like it as well. It just depends what you like, doesn't it, really? And I hope you are all still there, because no one's commented. Can somebody send me some thumbs up so I know you're still there? So I am just following the design. Oh, I haven't seen any yet. It says that there's still some people watching. Okay. So once I've done this, tomorrow I will load this up. I won't do it tonight because I have to do it on my computer, not my laptop. Tomorrow I will load this onto YouTube so that it's nice and easy to find again if you want to have a go at making this card, maybe when you get your goodies. Let's shape this round. Now you could, like I say, it is entirely up to you how much detail you put into cutting out around the design. I want to, I don't know if I did actually. Yes, I did. I want to cut some more of this out because I like that you can see through to the stencil because it is such a pretty stencil. Like you've got that lovely pattern around the edge. I don't want to lose it all to the white card. So I am quite happy just to come in and just to cut a few more bits away. I think I cut in up here, didn't I? Yeah, got rid of all that white space up there as well. And you can always come in with a craft knife if you find that easier as well to cut out the centre pieces. I think I must have done that. I did. Right, okay, bear with me a minute. Let's just get my craft knife. And one thing I can say about a craft knife is make sure you've changed your blade and change them quite regularly, because I've just changed the blade of mine and it made such a difference. I haven't really used a knife for quite a while and you do get out of practice with it. But I changed, put a new blade in, and oh boy, was it better. So much better. So I think that's something to remember. I think that we, you know, just use and use and use and forget that, oh, it would be good maybe to have a new blade. Okay, so I'm just going to cut this little bit up here. And a bit down there. And then it's really nice just to decorate your fuchsia up a little bit, maybe with a little bit of glitter glue. Oh, I've got to cut these bits out now, definitely. If you are going to cut these centre pieces out, it is actually better to do it before you cut around the edge, because the more card you've got around it, the more stable it will feel while you're cutting it out. So if you do intend to cut these centre pieces out, cut them out before you cut around the edge and you'll find it much easier. There we go. That's that done. Get rid of all this. Okay. So I now have this to go around the edge and I don't want to cover too much. I am going to curl up some of my leaves. I think I might have cut in here as well, actually. Let's just cut in there. Anyway, you can get in with the scissors. If you find that easier, then obviously just cut in with the scissors. If I curl and shape these a little bit, just doing it with my fingers, just to lift them up a little bit. And then that's going to actually show a little bit more off of my frame. So I'm going to be able to spot bits through it, which is what I want. Okay. So with the sentiments, I'm going to cut these ones out. You can do it with a guillotine if you want to. If you are cutting them out, it's best to have long nose scissors. Like use the full length of the blade. I haven't got long blades here, but the longer the blade, the straighter you will actually get your cuts to be. So I am just leaving a little border around the edge. But like I say, I'm doing it with my scissors. At the end of the day, it's a handmade card. This one's going to go up there. And then my big one, come in. Again, cut into it, leave a nice border. and just try and keep that nice and even. With the big ones, you can use the message banner die, but you need to stamp them into, like, use the waist and stamp the sentiment in the waist, and then line up and put your die cut in. I have shown how to do it before with the message banners, and it's exactly the same, but you would just be doing one sentiment, or you could do several at a time. Or you could die cut lots of banners and then stamp them out. Right, so we now need, I'm going to use these foam pads because I've only got little bits. So I'm going to pop little pieces of foam pad down to hold my fuchsia in place. I don't need it held absolutely everywhere. I do want to be able to lift those leaves a little bit to have a little bit of movement. So I think that will be enough to hold it in place. But it is going to raise it up a little bit, which I like. So now just take the backings off of those. Oops. Not the whole thing. Okay. And now we can place this down. So I want to make sure that I can see elements of my stencil showing. So place that down, and then I'm going to put the Enjoy Your Day. I'm going to stick this down on top of my sentiment. So just put some glue on the back, have it up the right way, and I'm going to overlap that onto my leaves. Just make sure I get that nice and straight. Just pop that down just so it sticks onto my leaves, and then I can let go. It'd be nice if I could get it straight though. That's a bit better. Okay, and then for the sentiment down here, I'm going to have a little bit of my birthday. So I want a bit of foam pad on the edge of my banner so that it's going to overhang from the stem. So when I place this down, that's going to go on that side, and now I can just put it down on the other side. So just leave a little bit of a gap so that the stem won't have any foam pads on near it, so that you can have that gap. So this is going to go like that. So let's take my backing paper off. And then we can flip this over, make sure I get the stem in the gap, and then just tuck my leaf and the top of my fuchsia onto my card. There we go. All right, so let's get rid of that and that. Let me grab my finishing touch, which has to be a little bit of sparkle. So a little bit of Stickles glitter glue in the Stardust. And I'm just going to put little elements just on my flowers. So just so that the light catches little elements of each of the flowers. Maybe put it on that bit as well, and then just a little bit in the veiny bit on the leaves, and that will just add that little bit of sparkle, catch your eye. Well, I hope you like that. I love it in the platinum, but it looks beautiful in silver as well. I love that stencil. I think it's so effective when you do the stenciling. So I'm hoping that you have been commenting, and I'm hoping that you do like the card, because nothing is coming through. I haven't got any thumbs up or any comments at all. So, okay, I hope, let's spin the camera, bear with me. I do like to say goodbye. Okay, so I'm going to take it that you could hear me and you could see me because you've stayed with me. So I hope you've enjoyed that, ladies. Thank you so much to everybody for your support today. Everyone who's treated themselves to some of my favourite florals. Can't wait to see what you do with them. And we will be back again soon with some more inspiration for you. So take care and have a lovely rest of the week. Thanks for joining me. Bye.